Good morning. So I'm currently walking into work. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I usually get here about this time every day. I'm actually the first person to arrive in my entire building just because I think I drive the furthest, so it ends up being this way. I still haven't fully decided on what I'm going to do this video about. Originally, I was going to have a Sephora package come in today, and I was going to do an unboxing and a haul of that. The package actually came in on Saturday, and because I'm impatient, I just immediately opened it. I might do a video on my relationship with my place of work, which might sound a little strange that I have a relationship with my place of work, but for reasons that I will talk about, it's actually a lot more complicated and interesting than that. So that's the plan right now. So we'll kind of think about it some more and go from there. So this is where I work. This is the Fine Arts Building on the campus of Ball State University. The top two floors are home to David Owsley Museum of Art, which is where I work, and then the bottom floor is the geology department. And we'll sort of do a little bit more information at a tour when we get inside, because I gotta clock in and I'm cold. So I have decided on the direction for today. It's not going to be about my relationship with the university, but instead just sort of a breakdown of my job and what I do. Right now we are standing in the Special Exhibitions Gallery. We have an exhibition going on right now that is recent acquisitions. These are things that we've gotten in the past couple years. Closes December 20th, so anybody who's interested who's watching this and within driving distance of Muncie, you can come and see it. I would like to introduce you to one special piece that I have a bit of a connection with, and it is these lovely ladies behind me. You can see them there. So originally we didn't know what this painting was. Now we kind of know it's like a allegory of love and of Roman/Greek myths and that sort of thing. But the thing that I like about this painting is that if you look at their faces, they all have the same faces, and it's a little creepy. I will show you my room across the hall here in a second, but for the longest time, I want to say 2 or 3 months, this painting was in my space and within maybe 10 feet of me. So this painting, definitely cursed. We run into a lot of that in the art museum. Definitely a cursed painting, and whatever they have, because I've spent so much time around them, I now have. And I think that they're fun though. So those are nice. So let me just take you in here real quick and show you something else cool. I am the photographer, so I am in charge of taking pictures of things that come in. So this recent acquisition show that we had, of course, we have all these recent pictures of things that are part of our collection. And I took all but about 7 of these, I think. So a lot of these pictures are mine, and it was really cool to be able to see this piece, this wall, come together and to know that it's something that, that I did. I think that's kind of a cool thing. So this is my space, my studio space. It is located on the 3rd floor of this building. The rest of the room is what we call print storage. It's got hundreds of flat files filled with different works of art. Very cool in here. They have lots of workspace for, there's Teddy. There's workspace for matting and other sort of works like that. This is my desk. There is usually a computer right there, but it's all for repairs, which is frustrating. So I had to bring in my laptop, which is what's right there. Hopefully it'll be done by the end of the week, or not, I'm gonna cry. This is the student workspace, which almost never gets used. This is more storage. This is my vacuum, which I brought in, an easel, which I photograph art on, and then we have my beautiful table, which is the tabletop is translucent, so I can shoot through it and I can do all kinds of cool stuff with light. And then we have the storage area, so we have storage for the equipment and props and things like that, and then we have my personal stuff, and then of course we have more storage over here. I've been in and out of a lot of photo studios my entire life, and a lot of them are fairly cluttered. In fact, I will put a picture of what this space looked like when I got here. While there's still some storage here, I think there's a lot less storage than a lot of other photo studios I've been in, and also a lot less than there was. That's fun. And this is where I work. It's always very cold in here, so I have layers always because I don't like to be cold. So that's sort of where we work. This is the space where we work. I guess Summer, who's another one of the students, like Teddy was, or is rather, she's going to bring me some artwork here in a bit, so I'll be able to show you kind of what I do artwork-wise, so yay. So I just got done photographing a piece of art. Technically, I guess it would be considered an artifact. Unfortunately, I can't show the actual artifact because I don't necessarily know what the permission and the usage rights are for that particular piece. So you guys will just have to trust me. Right now, Teddy and I are going to the library on campus here because I don't have a computer, and all I have to work with is my little 13-inch MacBook Pro, which doesn't really cut it when I'm trying to, edit photographs. So, or at least photographs like these. So we're gonna go over there. So I just got back from the library and back in my office/studio. I usually don't have to go to the library. Usually I have a beautiful 24-inch iMac right here, but as I said in the previous video, I've been having problems with it. I had it repaired once, and then I had the same problem again, which was super frustrating because I got it back and I was so happy to have it back after like a week and a half. And then I got all my stuff set up. It took me literal hours to like restore everything and download stuff. And then I restarted it to like get started on my day, and I got the same issue that I sent it in for in the first place. So that was basically, I was super annoyed, but looks like they're fixing it, so that's something. Hopefully for the next couple days. So just some more background information about my job that I didn't sort of get to before. I'm the photographer for David Owsley Museum of Art. Been here for almost 2 years now. I am part-time, which roughly equates to 3.5 days a week that I work here, which is plenty. I make enough to support myself, and I get usually 3-day weekends every weekend, which is also cool. Not only that, but I like what I do. I've wanted to be a professional photographer my entire life, basically. Something I'll talk about in detail later is the fact that my father was a photographer. He worked up here at Ball State, and he mostly did sports photography, but he also did like event coverage and things like that. So it's kind of cool because the places that I get to shoot and photograph now are the same ones that he did when he was working here, and he had worked here basically my entire life up until he passed away. So working here not only makes me feel close to him, but it's a realization of a dream because, I just always knew I was going to be a photographer. That's just who I was. It's part of my identity. And when I started working here, I really felt like I had reached that. The environment, of course, is inspiring. The thing that I really like about it is that my employers trust me. Like, my bosses trust me to do a good job and to get things done because they know that I will. It's one of my favorite things about this job is that I'm given responsibilities and I'm given trust, and I prove them right for giving me those every single time. And I love that about it. So it's inspiring, it's calm, it's very chill because my background is in sports photography, believe it or not. And when I was in college, I was a photojournalism major, so I was doing breaking news, and I shot house fires, I did ice rescues, and then all these other things that would happen, and that was too stressful for me. I didn't want to do that anymore. And so for me to be a photographer, but to find an environment that I fit in well with, a job that I enjoy, and something that's not stressful and something that I can really take pride in, that's really incredible for me, and I really love my job. And I'll take you on a tour of the museum. So this is the main sort of area. in the museum. Down below, we call this the sculpture court, or that's not what we call it, it's what it's called. Sculpture court. And we have this nice, lovely staircase and all these artworks that are very cool. Right now we are decorated for Christmas, which explains why it looks like this. This up here is the mezzanine. It's filled with artwork, and then there's some sculptures there too. But it's pretty cool being able to walk in here every day. I think it's pretty inspiring, and I remember when I first got hired here and I walked in for the first time, it's just like, this is cool. So, you know, it never gets old. So this is the Burckhardt Gallery. This is a lot of European paintings and artifacts that are very cool. This isn't my favorite room just because I don't particularly find myself drawn to this style of artwork, but it's very interesting, and I think it sort of is a collection that represents the style well. These are what we call the bays. There are 5 of them. They're arranged chronologically, so this is the first one, and it's things that are done, 1840s to 1850s, and then it kind of goes chronologically from there. Of course, I'm not going to go down there again because we run into problems with copyrighted information, but this is mostly all, if not entirely all, European art, which is fine. I think there's definitely a place for that in museums like this, especially because our museum is considered a educational one, so this sort of thing is important. So I don't think this room has like an official name. We just kind of call it the religious room. It has a lot of late and early Renaissance paintings, as well as just a bunch of really old stuff. Like this one is from 1505. These are from 1497. And then 1581, it just kind of gives you an idea. So if you follow art on Twitter or Tumblr or whatever, you know about the lore of the medieval cat. This is a painting that we have. It's executed about 1551. Very cool. I loved all the details of the food, but if you zoom in here, that's a medieval cat. Yes. So early morning, Jordan here again real quick. We are currently in the Margaret Ball Petty, can't see that, I will get used to it. You're in the Margaret Ball Petty corridor. Margaret Ball Petty is, I think she's the granddaughter, one of the Ball brothers, question mark, I'm not sure. But this hallway is really interesting because you have, I think these are called they're tiles that were made by a pretty famous foundry, and they have all these really kind of interesting details on it, like this one is like a couple of lovebirds with a nest, and there's pipers, and I think there's some doves, and like all kinds of really neat details that sort of litter the area. When I was an undergrad up here at Ball State, my first semester I was an art major, and when you are an art major, one of the first classes you take is a drawing 1 class. And every student has to do this, and they bring you to this specific hallway, and they have you draw all of these lines of tiles as a way to like teach you about perspective and how to like use it and how to do it. So for me, I sat in this doorway right down there. I remember this because I'll never be able to forget it because it was horrible. And I drew that doorway over there. This is before all of this was here, because that's kind of a new construction thing. So I just drew this, and I thought, oh, it'll be really interesting and really fun to do this, and like to stick with perspective and to know how to do that. It was terrible. That entire class was terrible, because as it turns out, I knew going into class I couldn't draw, but after that happened, I especially knew I couldn't draw. So then I stopped being an art major because it was not good. I'll probably talk more in detail about my art major thing later, but just wanted to point that out real quick. Back to later in the day, Jordan. So these are the downstairs galleries. We're gonna go through them pretty quick because this video is already super long. So this is the Ancients Room, also known as the Harper Family Gallery. And it's filled with things, I mean, like this is from ancient, this boat is one of our most iconic pieces, and it's from ancient Egypt. We have over here a beautiful statue of Aphrodite, which is from the 1st century BCE. My favorite things in this room are the things in this case, though. They don't look like much. They could just be confused with rocks, but especially like this little section over here, these things have definitely been carved, and these things are between, hang on a second, let me do math. These are basically between 8,000 and 6,000 years old. So these are, you know, pre-civilization in some cases that we're talking about, or at least the very, very early civilizations. And God, I just love to come down here and look at these and just see how neat they are. Another thing that I really like in this room is this cool coin collection that we have, and all this Roman glass over here. It's beautifully displayed, beautifully lit, and it's just so neat to see. I think that when it comes to foreign or ancient civilizations, we feel disconnected from them, but as you can see here, I mean, these are things that we could have in our home. You could use these now, and these were used, you know, thousands of years ago, and I think that's absolutely fascinating. So this is another one of my personal favorite galleries. Here we have the Asian wing, as we call it. Over here we have Southeast Asian items and objects, which are all very cool, but the coolest place is right over here. I do consider myself to be a bit of a buff and care a lot about Asian traditions and artifacts and art. It's something that I'm really interested in general. So this stuff is just so cool to me. So over here we have the Chinese section, lots of really nice artifacts and artwork. There's some statues. Then over there is the Japanese section, which I'm not going to go into great detail on again. This video is already super long, just kind of gives you an idea. But I will talk about this guy, who is obviously, for reasons you can probably amass, a very popular addition to our museum. He is called the Amida Buddha, and he is, let's look here, it looks like he's about 350 years old. So I just love him, though. Whenever I'm feeling stressed out or I'm upset about something, I just kind of come down here and I hang out with him a little bit, and it helps me sort of calm myself, and it's very relaxing. Through here we have the other special exhibitions room. So we have some prints over there. This is a Native American dress doll and shoes. We have some Toulouse-Lautrec pieces. We have a bunch of other prints that I will not go into detail because, like I said, copyright stuff. But we do have these really cool Native American artifacts. This is a bone plate chest. And then over here we have some bags and assorted sundries that I think are very neat. They were a lot of fun to shoot too. So this is the Native American collection. Just a little hallway right here, but we are going to be expanding that because we've recently got a lot more things. We have Pacific Island things over in that direction. And then if you go through here, we have African art, which is, I think, a particular passion of David Owsley, who was our benefactor. We see, I think this is more Pacific Island stuff too over here. So you see all kinds of really neat artifacts and cultural pieces and all kinds of things. This is called the Janus head. It's one of our more popular and well-known items. It's very neat. We got all of these things, and these are cool. I think they're really neat. I don't come down here as much just because I'm not as interested in this artwork, but it's really cool nonetheless. So that's basically the tour. We are in the elevator right now going back up to the 3rd floor. There's a couple more rooms I didn't go through, but they were sort of smaller, decorative arts galleries, which is like teapots and stuff like that. It's a small collection, it's a small museum, but it's actually really nice because a museum of this size you wouldn't expect to see in a town the size of Muncie. So we are technically a world art collection, meaning that there are pieces of artwork from all over the world, because not only do you have art in the more traditional sense like this, but you're going to have artifacts and you're going to have, you know, reliquies and things like that, which is pretty sweet. And it's something that I think is really special that this community has, that this university has, and I'm honored not only to have access to it, but especially honored to be able to work here. So that's my job. That's where I work. I'm probably just going to be processing images and doing editing the rest of the day, so nobody needs to see that. But I think that's going to be it for the day. Hopefully this was interesting, or at least give people more context as to what I do for a living. And so there we go. Thanks. See you tomorrow.